This is an extremely special and significant episode of the Economic War Room. We're racing in, literally. I've got Mike Carter with me. Mike Carter is my co-host on Pirate Money Radio. He's been traveling with me. We have been across the United States. We've testified in Kansas, Oklahoma, Utah, Florida, Texas, all in the past couple of weeks. And I've traveled from Tallahassee to Tyler and Abilene to Silicon Valley. So it's covered the entirety of the country, and we've got excellent news to report, but also action items. We need our listening audience and viewing audience to jump on board and help us make transactional gold and silver a reality. Now, we know the background, and let's start with that. Mike, why do people want, first off, tell us what that is. What is it when we're talking about transactional gold and silver?
Transactional gold is simply taking advantage of states' constitutional rights in Article 1, Section 10 to make gold and silver legal tender. And then specifically what we're able to do now with modern day technology is make that functional currency or functional money. You know, up until now, several states have had, I think there's about 6 states now that have gold and silver as legal tender. But what can you do with it? Because you can't spend a gold coin. But what you can do is take part of that money, part of your money, put it in a bullion depository, authorized by a state, and attach a debit card to it and spend gold and silver anywhere that you spend MasterCard. It's seamless, it's transactional, the retailer doesn't even know the difference, but the advantage is you've got money that's holding a stable, steady store of value, something that keeps up with inflation. It's another way to pay. It's the fintech opportunity for today that I think our founders brilliantly put in the Constitution that said states can do this. They can have money as long as it's backed by gold and silver.
Now, they had no idea that this was coming, but they did have this. The dollar that our founders put in the Constitution was a Spanish mill dollar. The reason they chose it was also known as a piece of 8. You could cut a silver coin up into 8 pie-shaped wedges. Those were each known as a bit, and you could spend them. So that was an opportunity to make silver transactional, and that was the intention. So in Article 1, Section 10, the founders wrote gold and silver coins are the only thing a state could make. And they wrote that there because they knew the federal government might go off the rails someday and do this horrible thing that they warned us against. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I think Thomas Jefferson said paper is poverty. George Washington says it's going to open the door to every form of fraud and injustice. Hamilton said, don't go to paper money. It'll ruin your commerce, ruin the economy. Same thing, the authors of the Constitution, the authors of the Declaration, the first Treasury Secretary warned us against what we're facing now, which is $37 trillion of federal debt. That's why this is kind of an emergency session of Economic War Room, but it's also a good news reporting session. So, Mike, we've been visiting. You've been out among the people and the legislators and the, high-end Wall Street types. What are people saying about this as an idea to go back to what the Constitution said and let states make gold and silver transactional and useful as money? What do people feel?
Well, if you look at just the consumer in general, or the citizens, I mean, when they hear about this, they're like, what? You can actually do this? First of all, it's kind of hard for them to understand until you actually see it being done. And for example, I paid an Uber driver with gold the other day, and he was like, I had no idea this was out there. How do I get more information? How do I find out more about it? Once they see that, it's as simple as using a debit card, but now I'm spending gold. But more importantly, what they see is as inflation continues to rise, that account going up, their money that's in the gold is keeping value, and they see the dollar losing its value. Like, I need to have another way to pay. I need to have this optionality.